Thank you. Thank you very much. Today we start a gathering where different people are showing different fancy ways to do the things. Some of them comes with very good alternatives to do something that we were not able before. Others are slightly better, but not enough to justify the effort to do that. So here I try to make a reflection about this new tool. So this is not about a new algorithm or a new programming scope. It's more about to think why we should use these tools and which are the implications to use this tool and how they can help us in our regular work. So I wrote here the outline. I promised to the moderator to try to fit in 10 minutes. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see. I try. So first, as we have different profile here, I put some introduction about forest management and to explain which is the topic. So forest management involves the integration of silviculture with some economics point of view to fulfill the aims of the stakeholders. Can be the owners, can be the society as a whole, can be the governmental, or can be the regular population that we want in related with our forests. There are several high-level experience ideas about forest management that always we try to fulfill with the plans, like sustainability, multifunctionality, provision of ecosystems, of relevant ecosystem services, long-term thinking when you are working with long-life organisms like trees, adaptation, now really relevant, adaptation of the management, too, not only adaptation of the ecosystem. Always we have trade-offs between our decision and different synergies, and always we try to get social engagement in the management. So this is independent of artificial intelligence or the human intelligence. It's like the aims of the domain. And then we have some different questions. Normally we try to solve by different ways. For instance, which are the ecosystem services that we have to promote or obtain? What is the desired species composition? Or which is the adequate silvicultural path for a particular situation under a particular species, site condition, and social structure? And then when apply that silvicultural path, which is the intensity of the management, which is the cut, the allowed volume we should extract, and how we can do that. These are all questions. Now we have a new tool, and then with the new tool, we have to try to do the same as before, but better, because if not, it's not needed, all this exercise. And then here we have several problems with the vocabulary, because we mix normally algorithms or scapes. So I try to make like a taxonomy to understand which is about this. So which is artificial intelligence? Well, right now it's a groundbreaking technology. We are seeing and we'll see this today with different applications that will change the way that we are doing our work, especially our cognitive work. So, and now we are talking mainly about narrow artificial intelligence. So doing something concrete, we want to solve with a tool. Because there are general artificial intelligence that is wider and is not yet with us. I don't know if it will be soon or later, but as professional of the forest management, of the natural resources management, we should be aware of that. So then we have different levels. Subfields, I classified in subfields, approaches, and algorithms. Because sometimes we mix and we put as algorithms things that are approaches, and between approaches things that are subfields. Subfields are, for instance, computer vision. We have several examples. We get image, and then from satellite, for instance, and with that information, we try to solve a problem. Or we have natural language processing. Now is the most famous is ChatGPT. This is another way. Or speech recognition. If you change speech recognition by sound recognition, for instance, for bird counting, can be a tool really amazing. So there are different approaches, different subfields. In the approaches, we have different high-level strategies to solve problems in the different subfields. And then some of them can be used in any of the subfields. We have machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning. Basically, it's high level, and we can use these approaches in the different subfields and the different domains that we have. And finally, we have the algorithms. There are the particular methods we apply to solve something. Some of them are pretty new, others are pretty old. Linear regression. Linear regression is more than 100 years old, and still is part of the artificial intelligence we use as part of artificial intelligence. Or we can use logistic regression to classify. But also we have random forest or support vector machine that are algorithms. This is not the topics of my talk to distinguish all of them, but just to classify when we are talking about the different things that we can do. And always we can see the algorithms can be supervised and unsupervised or with reinforced learning. And this can be in the different types of algorithms we have. So now we have some problems. We have a taxonomy of tools that of course require a learning process. It's not easy. And then we have to apply to our domain. In our case, for instance, site classification. I took your contribution, I took the list of the contribution, and I will try to summarize here the things that we are presenting here, that you are presenting here, like site classification, yield assessment, for forest inventory, harvest allocation, stand dynamic forecasting, or hazard risk assessment. So different things that you can see only reading the program of the meeting. And there are examples that we can find where we can apply this. In some cases, some of the situations, it will be not worthy to do that because it will be tremendously costly. Because one of the things we are not talking about yet is about the cost of the technologies. So one of the things that artificial intelligence can solve a lot of problems, but the solution has associated cost. Later we will talk that it can be computing cost, but also energy cost, environmental impact due to the process we are using. And then maybe we are trying to solve environmental problems with a tool that has more environmental or stronger environmental problems. Or maybe economically it's not feasible because normally forestry is a poor sector, or natural conservation is always in the bottom parts of the list of the budgets, because health system, education system, all these are before that natural resources. So we have this. Now we have some problems. Normally we have problems to apply the different things. Mark Ducey said today, data is a problem and data are not free. Data availability is one of the problems. These methods need a huge of data. And in some cases, we have no such data, or the data are private. People is not willing to share, or at least is not willing to share for free, or a price we can do. Also, we have problems with data privacy and ethical concerns. Yesterday, in the site events, the certification body told us that ownership is a private data, that maybe owners don't want to be disseminated. In ethical concerns, for instance, is the location of endangered species nest. For instance, we know where eagles nest in Spain are mapping, but it's not public. The people in charge of the preservation of the species, they know where they are, but it's not public. We cannot work with that type of data easily. Another problem is knowledge sharing. We are here to share knowledge, but the tremendous value, economical value of this technology make that the companies, it doesn't matter, Google, Amazon, Baidu, they don't want to share that knowledge, or they share all knowledge, not fresh knowledge. So we have a problem how to solve. We are working with a partial knowledge. The other problem is the artificial intelligence literacy in our practical community. I mean, natural resources manager, forester. Here we are around 100 people, but we are not a random sample of our managers community. Our colleagues, most of them know almost nothing about that. They read the newspaper, hear about this buzzword, but there is not in the standard education of our colleagues. Other problem is the computational resources need required. So most of the problem that you can solve needs connection with high-performance computer. There are not so many. The other day, one colleague from the computer science faculty in the university told us that to train this system, there are 5 supercomputers in the world. None of them in Europe. We have some computers in Europe, but not big enough to train from scratch such machines. Then is the output reliability you can have, and the cost. That's a key question. Cost in terms of money, but more important in terms of energy, the resources that you can need more resources that we have to solve. And then you have another cost. It's how to integrate this with the old-fashioned to do the things, because this will not disappear in the administration, in the companies. It will be processed still in the old style. And if you want to introduce that, you have to fit that with the traditional, or maybe you can call old-fashioned way to do the things. Because if not, it will be fancy, but it will be not really helpful. So, which are the problems? To develop intelligent agents for forest management. Here we have some examples. For instance, Charlotte showed us some examples that we can, not exactly, but we can adapt to forest management, but it's not on the ground. So it is not ready. This is a room of improvement for the community. It's an opportunity for departments, for companies to develop solutions adapted to our domain. To have real case studies we can show to the manager, to the decision makers, to the people who has the decision about how to do the things. This is also important. We can tell them about theories, about complicated, but they want to see one example. For instance, Johannes, show us examples. This is one of the ways we can have one example to show to the decision makers. We can do that with all the problems I told before, but this example are needed. So we need calculus power, access to supercomputing. For instance, here in Castilla y León, we are very happy. We have nearby a high-performance computer in León, that is Skyler. In Europe, we have a lot of supercomputing facilities, but not enough to train from scratch. We can adapt tools, use algorithms. Wow, I need another 20 so We need data sets with the algorithms, and we need domain experts, forester, natural resources manager, environmentalist that knows about the methods, knows the limitation, and can apply. Maybe they are not the master programming, but they need to understand what is going on behind the system. And we have data privacy and ethical concerns. So there are some benefits: increased efficiency, better decision making, improved monitoring, and increased sustainability. But the cost is high cost in terms of money and energy. We have bias. We have some bias in algorithms also. The lack of transparency. Sometimes the algorithm do something, but you are not able to understand why. And sometimes it's not so important, but other times it's really important to understand why it's doing that and not other things. It depends on the data quality. So we can use as forester companion all this artificial intelligence. Right now there is a lot of basic knowledge from the mathematics behind. Not everything is invented, of course, but we have a lot of mathematical background that we can apply to those. So it's not needed. It's the time for domain application to transform all this in our. We as professionals So now I'm here telling not an artificial intelligence interested or expert, a regular forester. We cannot compete with artificial intelligence machine in data management, in forecasting. We can put in the context, we can make interpretation of the data, we can communicate the data, we can do that. So it's a really strong change in the profile of the managers. So here I adapted one presentation from Kai-Fu, and it's about our job. Most of the things that we are telling here is in the bottom left part. A counter zone means that maybe a machine can do better than us. Forecasting, data management, and the things that are in the upper right part of the slide are the things that machine cannot do better than us by the moment. We'll see it soon. So like environmental, social context, understand has contextual adequation of the decision, define ethical limits. And there are others in the other two quarters of the figure that can be a help to our jobs. So we have a groundbreaking technology. We need a radical change in the way we educate the new generation of foresters. You can change foresters by environmentalists, by natural resources managers. You can change that for everything. So we have to pay more emphasis in social context and in data science literacy. And I have to say there is no room for more topics in our curricula, so we have to make like a revolution if we want to introduce that. I can skip this. You will have all the presentations if you are interested in. So, problems, increased energy. I'm really worried about that. This is a huge problem. We will face a problem with energy, and this is only one problem more when we try to train this machine. The increase of our carbon and water footprint, we are trying to do something good with high cost. And then the job problem for the new generations. So this is the summary, this is almost the last one, this is the summary of the, I'm finished. The summary of the presentation. So artificial intelligence is a huge opportunity to change the way we are doing the things, but we have to be aware about the problem, about how we can integrate in the management. And finally, I want to show this because we have to start to be comfortable with this type of analysis. Because I work with analogical devices, I may search in the internet to find documentation. Also, I use artificial intelligence-based machines to discuss, and also with human intelligence to discuss. And I think this will be part of the near future. 20 years ago, nobody understood that you can go to internet and search to find papers. And nobody say you are copy pasting. Maybe you can do that, but not simply by doing that. With artificial intelligence, it's the same. We have now new opportunities we can use. And that's all. Thank you.